everyone, YouTube Smashing Pumpkin here, coming at you guys with another recorded duel. So to kick things off, I start off with a duality, and I end up just dualing into another duality, because I didn't really feel like getting the torrential. Summoned Maharagari to manipulate my next draw, and then end my turn. And then my opponent Night Beams, which kind of sucks, because that Trapstone would have been really helpful. So at Mahara, I don't want the Tsukiyomi, so instead I end up getting landed with Nigatama. Duality again into Aratama, but I don't really want to like Aratama and then have to discard card, so I'm a Haragari. I attack in for 11, and then I get to manipulate my next draw as well. So that happens. I don't want a second Aratama, but then I get landed with another Nigatama again, which is okay, I guess. So I want to get my graveyard loaded up so my Izanami, my hand is like at least a little bit more alive. So I search for a Nigatama for my deck. I make a Mace Stroke and it gets Blackhorned, so I can't really do anything here. Here I make a kind of misplay. I really should have made a bigger push, but I end up not. And I just kind of make a really dumb play. Just draw to a point where I'd have 7 cards at the end of my turn. And yeah, now I have to discard one. I end up having to discard Mahara because it's probably the worst of the lot. And then I decide this turn I want to push, but I don't really know what I'm afraid of, because I kind of play into the torrential at the end, but I do get the damage in, which is like kind of the important thing, I guess. So that happens, and then I summon the Izanami, discard torrential. They always have torrential on me. It's kind of annoying, but you know, it's just kind of the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. So he sets another back row surprise, and then I summon a tour guide, hit in for 2,000, and make a fortune tune. Set my bottomless, and then he just kind of forfeits here. He never really drew a monster, so I don't really know what he's playing. But I saw heavy back row, so I'm like, MST is probably a good idea. So that was okay. I decided to side in Thunder King for whatever reason, but he's playing frogs of all things. And I'm just like, that's not a heavy back row deck. I should have kept in all of my removal. And to cap things off, my hand is really, really bad. Not a whole lot is going on. I really should have torrentialed that swap frog from the very beginning, but I don't know. I felt like waiting for the Lancer to be dropped instead, but it ends up not being really helpful. So I'm still in a bad situation. I end up having to overlay here to try and get something going, but he warnings my King of the Feral Imps. He summons the swap frog, dumps another Ronin, and then he decides to make Dagusto Phoenix, which I'm not really too afraid of because I have ways around it. I could just set if I'm really that threatened. But I end up top decking creature swap, so I make a play here that I thought was actually going to be really good, but it ends up, I don't know. I thought it was a good play. Like, I creature swap and I get both of his Ronin turns out of the grave. So I feel like he's in kind of a bad spot here, but he just still has the swap frog, so it's kind of bad. And then here he has torrential again, so guess what? My plays kind of got ruined again. And he goes back to exactly where he was like a turn ago, so that kind of sucks. He also MSTs my scrap iron, but that's less of an issue, I guess. But he just sets up another wall. I don't draw into anything again, so. And then he MSTs my torrential, so I have to book. But I don't feel like I've lost the game at this point because I can still top deck pretty well, and I do right here. So I go into overlay into Papal Operative after thinking for a while, because I'm just trying to get in damage, because I don't think like I can win any other way. So that's kind of what I go for here. I just go for as much damage as I can put on the board, and then still have Papal Operative for his set, but he top decks Salvage, I think, or he has it. No, he had it in his hand from the start, so he just salvages back his Lancer and then summons it again. So at this point I'm pretty much lost, but I fight as hard as I can to try and like push in for the 1600 extra, because I feel like it was doable, but like it was unlikely. So I kind of just pressed on anyway. But he ends up making a Gachi Gachi after summoning the Lancer again, and he just breaks through my Papal Operative. Yeah, pretty much. Just unsure of how much damage I took. So I top deck that, which is fine. I don't want to do that right now because I can still take one more hit, but he Valor's my tour guide that I top deck, so that kind of sucked. And that would be game if you attacked into it, but I'm still holding on to the fact that I could top deck something. So there's that. So he draws and searches his deck for 2 more frogs, which kind of sucks. But he searched his deck first and then drew, so he wouldn't draw his Lancer for sure. But apparently he had another Lancer in his hand, so a little bit ahead of the narration here, but it doesn't matter. Like, I've pretty much lost. I'm down so much advantage. Yeah, here it comes. And after that. So he just ends up filling his graveyard back again, which is awesome. And then I decide to try and make black ship because then that would put him in the range where if I top deck some more cards, I could potentially come back. But he just compulses it, so I lose out. So I decide D-Fish is a good idea, and I decide to take out one MST and the Thunder King because those aren't really helpful. I should have also taken out Mirror Force, but I wasn't really thinking too clearly. So this game, I kind of debate whether I should drop the Dimensional Fissure first turn. I end up doing it, and it turns out to be a pretty good idea because he doesn't really have any responses to it. I MST the set Compulse because I didn't really want anything to like stop the summon of my King of the Feral Imps. So I go for that and search out Kage and attack over, and he's just kind of thinks he's kind of screwed here, so he forfeits. So that was the game. Smashing Pumpkin signing out. Peace.